You feel stuck in your life and are hiding or pretending that you don't want more. That silent agreement alone will make you sick. And let's also be clear, guilt has been a way to control women for centuries. Here's the thing, you're not ungrateful if you're unfulfilled in your life. Many things can be true at the same time. I have some notes here, so if you see me looking down, that's what this is. Our exclusive ideas about things like this cancels this out, this can't be true, this is true. It it bats us into a corner. You can be grateful. You can have had a kick-ass beautiful life and also outgrow it. You can have many accomplishments and want to do a 180 on your life. The thing is, most of us designed lives based on a very linear path that was either modeled to us, shown to us, presented to us, of which in many ways this has all been being reimagined and blown up with these newer, younger generations. And that was very much what was prescribed, this idea of the nuclear family or what success looks like. It put everybody in a box, and it especially limited women because we also didn't have access to as much, and everything we want, we have to work twice as hard. So it perpetuates this idea that you should be grateful and you should stay where you're at. Meanwhile, you might be feeling not just disconnected or unhappy or unfulfilled, but the conflict of not allowing how you feel to be surface and honored and respected is what really gets in the way of our well-being, of our joy, of our health, truly. Yeah, I want to talk a little bit more about this control tactic, this idea, this scarcity mentality. That all of those constructs are things that we were born into. Some of them came from religion, some of them came from the patriarchy. They've all been developed way before any of us got here, but they are controlling our idea of ourselves and our idea of what's possible for ourselves. So this is a great opportunity for you to check in because oftentimes we think something's wrong with us, or you might be thinking like, why am I not happy with this? Or maybe you have something totally different and you feel actually resentful for what you've signed up for and you want to change it. All of that can be true and all of it can be real and all of it needs to just have a voice, needs to be something that you're willing to acknowledge and to let it be okay. What's what how we feel about things is really often not we can't really help. I mean, we can help what we do with it, but if we don't at first acknowledge the feeling, then it just kind of stays trapped inside of us. And whatever shift or learning or growth that's attempting to come through that will get stifled because we have to be willing to look at it, honor it, acknowledge it, sit with it in order to move through it and beyond it. So being mindful of those constructs is so important because I think women just put so much pressure on ourselves that we should figure it all out all the time and we should know and we should not want more or you know it's totally fine to want more, but you're still living in a world that has a lot of constructs. So you might have friends or people that might reflect to you, what's wrong with your life? And your commitment to yourself and your own life is really your greatest body of work, and it's the only thing you actually have control over. So this video is really about acknowledging this very real thing that may be going on for you, and I think is going on for every single human being. When men start having midlife crises and like blowing up their lives, I would offer that a good part of what was the impetus for that is the same thing. Them creating lives without ever actually acknowledging who they are, what they care about, what's important to them, because we haven't built an education system around that. We haven't encouraged that. And if you create a whole life and then now you're on the hook for paying for that life and showing up for that life and you don't even know who you are, you're likely potentially going to use some kind of sabotage tactic to try to get out of it. The point I'm making is that if you are relating to what I'm sharing here, this is for you. And this is a powerful opportunity to just be in the inquiry and let it be okay how you feel. Let it be okay. Keep it close to you so that you can have an opportunity to discover it before you share it and give it away, because that opens you up for everybody else's ideas, perceptions, opinions. People, we will all unconsciously or consciously project what we think is right for somebody onto them before we even set up the scene. So I encourage you to let yourself have the inquiry, have the introspection, and then decide very intentionally how you want to move from there and who you want to share it with. So another thing I wanted to share in this video about this is that most of us don't really understand our nervous system and our inner operating system. And one of the things that I talk about a lot is our inner operating system. And your inner operating system is essentially like, it's very much driven by your nervous system, but it's not just your nervous system. It's how you function. It's the physiology, the psychology, the biology, the neurology. It's all these systems that are essentially running the interior of your physical being, but they're impacting how you see the world, how you think about the world, how you interpret things. And a lot of that, our glasses, our lenses come from all the meaning that we've made throughout our life. So starting from infancy and toddler and adolescent, this is just how the brain operates. We're always trying to understand what's happening because it's also connecting us back to that very natural response of the reptilian brain, attempting to keep us safe all the time. We have the sympathetic nervous system, which is that fight, flight, fawn part of our brain that's connected back here. And then we have this parasympathetic nervous system, which is that rest and digest. And that's where we don't spend enough time on, but that's where we actually can connect more with our highest level of intelligence because we're not at the mercy of the reaction. We've moved beyond that. Our nervous system has shifted out of that. But your inner operating system includes your beliefs, includes your values, includes what you think is good, bad, right, wrong. All of those things are living inside of you, and we are not educated about this. So what's happening is that you're interpreting the world, you're making deductions, and often the brain is a predictor, right? So if you already have an idea, whether it's conscious or not, about something, you will continue to find ways to affirm that. So if you butt into this idea that wanting more is not okay, or that somehow that means that you're not grateful for your life, or you don't already somehow now saying that your life wasn't what it was, that is a limiting belief that some part of you agreed to, likely unconsciously, and now that's the filter, and it's inhibiting you from taking steps. Because of course, if you were to walk into that, not only is that challenging and probably going to create a lot of discomfort, which most change often can, but it's also going to skew how you see it all because you're walking through it with this preconceived idea about what's okay and what's not okay. So much more there, but I wanted to mention that because understanding that we all have an inner operating system, and what I just described is not some character deflect in you or anybody. It's part of how we become who we are, but because we are not educated on how this is always happening, like times tables or some version of history or how to write a great sentence, we're not taught how our being, how we operate, how this whole thing works, always in an effort to take care of us. But if we don't understand how it works, then we are literally becoming a version of ourselves that we don't question, that we don't investigate, that we hold tight to because it also helps us feel rooted and like we're okay. But you can actually still have those things and investigate your thoughts, your ideas, your beliefs. And quite frankly, it's something that will not only open up your life and reduce suffering, it will expand you in ways you can't even imagine because really it's just an idea or a construct that's limiting us all the time. So it's almost like this video could be about what I'm sharing, but it's also a recipe to consider of a lens putting over your entire life. Because the more you're willing to question an idea or a belief that you're holding, the more you will be able to create not only just a deeper level of understanding and connection with yourself, which will create emboldening your self-esteem and your worthiness, your sense of worthiness and your sense of wholeness, but it will often likely lead you to creation and connection and community and fulfillment. Just so much more richness comes through that. So before you get off on my tangent, which can happen, I want to just end with this. Here are 3 journal prompts that can help you begin shifting this idea. If you're sitting in this place of knowing something's not right, but not really having given the opportunity, having given the time and the expression to to inquire, to investigate it. So get your pen and paper, and I want to share with you this. There's just 3 prompts, and you will get a lot from these 3. The first one is, and this is key, this is where our ego is really running us. If nobody would be upset and there were no consequences, what would you actually want for your life? If nobody would be upset and there were no consequences, what would you want for your life? Number 2, what part of your life had you outgrown and are still carrying? What part of your life have you outgrown that you are still carrying? And number 3, what rule about what's okay for you did you agree to without realizing it? What rule about what's okay for you did you agree to without realizing it? So hopefully you hear some themes in these questions for what I said ahead of time, but I really encourage you to consider giving yourself even 30 minutes just by yourself to investigate these questions and see what you learn. I'm Jennifer Herrera. If this resonated, I'd love to have you here. I'll see you tomorrow.